The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the Vrexian ambassador, Krelthar, limped to the central podium. His exoskeleton bore the scars of recent combat, deep burns and fractures that even advanced regeneration couldn't fully heal. The assembled representatives from 47 species waited with barely contained curiosity. The humans had been at war for only 3 standard cycles, yet the galaxy had already changed. "I come before you not as a warrior, but as a witness," Krelthar began, his translator rendering his chittering voice into something the diverse assembly could understand. "I survived an encounter with humanity's military forces. Most of my fleet did not." A murmur rippled through the chamber. The Vrexian Empire had fielded one of the most formidable armadas in known space. Their loss seemed impossible. "We believe the intelligence reports were exaggerated," Krelthar continued. "Humans are young, barely 300 cycles since achieving faster-than-light travel. Their technology is primitive by our standards. Their homeworld is a death trap of extreme weather, hostile fauna, and crushing gravity. We assumed they would surrender when they saw our fleet." He paused, his compound eyes dimming with something that looked disturbingly like fear. "We were wrong about everything." The battle had begun near Proxima Station, a human mining outpost on the edge of their expanding territory. Commander Emma Vasquez stood on the bridge of the UHSF Indomitable, watching the Vrexian fleet approach. 200 warships against her force of 37. The odds were laughable. "They're hailing us," her communications officer reported. "Put them through," Emma said calmly, adjusting her uniform. She was a compact woman, barely 5'4", with iron-gray hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. To the Vrexians, she would appear small, fragile even. The Vrexian commander's face appeared on screen, an insectoid nightmare of mandibles and multifaceted eyes. "Human vessel, you are outmatched. Surrender your colony, and we will allow your ships to retreat." Emma smiled, and it wasn't a pleasant expression. "Counter-proposal, you turn around right now, and maybe some of you survive." The alien's laughter sounded like grinding metal. "Your bravado is amusing. You have 60 seconds to comply." Emma cut the transmission and turned to her tactical officer, Lieutenant Jason Chun. "Sound battle stations. Activate the Ragnarok protocol." Jason's fingers flew across his console, his face grim but determined. "Ragnarok protocol active, Commander. All ships reporting ready. The Vrexians are advancing." "Then let's teach them why you don't pick fights with apex predators," Emma said quietly. "The humans didn't retreat," Krelthar told the council. "They charged." He displayed holographic footage from his flagship sensors. The council watched in stunned silence as the outnumbered human fleet accelerated directly toward the Vrexian armada. No defensive formations, no cautious maneuvering, just pure, aggressive assault. "Our tactical computers couldn't predict their movements," Krelthar explained. "Every species we've encountered fights logically, preserving resources, minimizing casualties, following established combat doctrine. Humans don't fight like that. They fight like their world taught them to fight, like cornered predators with nothing to lose." The footage showed human ships performing maneuvers that should have torn them apart. They spun through crossfire, engines burning at dangerous levels, closing distance with reckless speed. Their weapons, crude kinetic systems and nuclear-tipped missiles, shouldn't have been effective against Vrexian shields. But the humans didn't target the shields. "They went for our sensor arrays first," Krelthar said, his voice hollow. "Blinded us. Then they deployed something we'd never encountered, electromagnetic pulse weapons that disrupted our ship-to-ship communications. Within moments, our coordinated fleet became isolated vessels." On the hologram, the Indomitable barrel rolled through a cluster of Vrexian cruisers, its railguns punching tungsten rounds through vulnerable sensor nodes. Emma's voice crackled over the recorded comm channels. "All ships, pattern Delta 7. Make them chase you into the debris field." The human vessels scattered like wolves breaking formation, leading their pursuers into the asteroid belt surrounding the mining station. The Vrexians followed, confident in their superior numbers that it was a trap. The humans had spent the previous week seeding the asteroids with remote-triggered nuclear mines. As the Vrexian ships entered the field, Jason's fingers hovered over his console. "Commander, they're in position." "Do it," Emma ordered. The asteroid belt transformed into a field of nuclear fire. Dozens of Rection ships simply ceased to exist. The survivors found themselves surrounded by debris and by human ships that emerged from behind the larger asteroids like sharks from dark water. They used their own fragility as a weapon. Krelthar explained to the shocked council. Human ships are lightly armored compared to ours, but that makes them faster, more maneuverable. They turned our strength into a weakness. Our heavy cruisers couldn't navigate the debris field. Their fighters could. The footage showed Jason's tactical display as he coordinated the ambush. Targeting solutions locked. Missiles away. Swarms of human missiles, each carrying a primitive but devastatingly effective nuclear warhead, overwhelmed Vrection point defense systems through sheer volume. Not elegant, not sophisticated, just brutal, overwhelming firepower. But it was what happened next that truly terrified the alien commander, that a Vrection battleship managed to disable the Indomitable with a lucky shot, breaching her hull. Krelthar's forces moved in to capture the wounded vessel, expecting surrender. Instead, the human crew activated their self-destruct sequence and deployed in boarding pods toward the Vrection ships. They were dying, Krelthar said, his voice breaking. Their ship was venting atmosphere. They could have retreated. Instead, they boarded our vessels and fought us in close quarters. The council watched in horror as the footage showed human soldiers, wounded, bleeding, some without proper life support, storming through Vrection corridors. Emma led one team personally, a plasma rifle in her hands despite a shrapnel wound in her side. "Fall back to engineering," a Vrection officer screamed in the recording. "They're not stopping. They don't fear death." Emma's voice came through crystal clear. For Earth. For humanity. And behind her, dozens of voices roared in agreement. The humans fought with a ferocity that defied logic. They used their environment as a weapon, their desperation as fuel. When ammunition ran out, they used blades. When they were outnumbered, they set traps. When wounded, they fought harder. By the time Krelthar ordered a retreat, he had lost 70% of his fleet. The humans had lost 12 ships. The council chamber remained silent long after the footage ended. Finally, the Centaurian Prime Minister spoke, her voice shaking. "Ambassador Krelthar, what is your assessment of the human threat?" The Vrection looked at each council member in turn. Humanity evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day for millions of years. They climbed to the top of their food chain through persistence, adaptability, and sheer stubborn refusal to die. Every human is born a survivor of a cosmic gauntlet that would destroy most of our species. He gestured to the empty space where the hologram had been. Commander Vasquez survived her wounds. So did Lieutenant Chun. They're already back in service, training the next generation of human warriors. And humanity is building more ships, better ships. The ambassador's final words hung in the air like a death sentence. "We picked a fight with a species that sees war not as a last resort, but as something they're evolutionarily designed to excel at. We attacked their children, their colonies, their future. And now they're coming for us. Not with logic or mercy, but with the same ruthless efficiency that made them the apex predator of a death world. The question isn't whether we can defeat humanity. The question is whether we can survive making peace with them before they decide to end us all." The Galactic Council voted unanimously for immediate peace negotiations. Humanity. Fuck yeah.